Have you ever wondered, what if Earth somehow entered into orbit around a black hole instead of the Sun? Would we survive, and what would life be like? Well, the short answer is that we'd be in for quite a ride. But before we dive into the cosmic chaos that would unfold, let's think about what we're really dealing with here. A black hole isn't just some empty void floating in space. It's an incredibly dense object with gravitational pull so intense that it warps the very fabric of space and time around it. Now, for Earth to actually enter orbit around a black hole, we're talking about a scenario that defies everything we know about celestial mechanics. Our planet would need to be somehow ejected from our current solar system, and then captured by a black hole's gravitational field at just the right distance and velocity. The odds of this happening naturally are astronomically small, but let's imagine it did. The first thing you'd notice is that your calendar would become completely meaningless. Remember, we're no longer orbiting the Sun, so our concept of a year would vanish overnight. Instead, our orbital period would depend entirely on how far we are from the black hole and how massive it is. If we, the kind that forms are talking about a stellar black hole, when a massive star collapses, we might complete an orbit in a matter of hours or days. For a supermassive black hole, like the ones found at the centers of galaxies, we could be looking at orbital periods ranging from months to centuries. But here's where things get really interesting. The closer we orbit to the black hole, the stronger its gravitational effects become. At a certain distance, called the photon sphere, even light itself gets trapped in orbit. Venture too close, and we'd cross the point of no return. However, if we maintain a stable orbit at a safe distance, Earth could theoretically survive for an incredibly long time. The most immediate change would be our sky. Gone would be the familiar yellow glow of our sun, replaced by the eerie darkness of space, punctuated only by the light from distant stars. But wait, there's more. Many black holes are surrounded by what's called an accretion disk, a swirling mass of superheated gas and debris that spirals inward toward the event horizon. This disk would glow brilliantly, creating a stunning but alien light source that would illuminate our world in ways we've never experienced. During the portions of our orbit when we're on the side of the black hole facing the accretion disk, Earth would be bathed in intense radiation and light. The temperatures could soar to unbearable levels, turning our planet into a furnace. But when we swing around to the far side of our orbit, we'd be plunged into complete darkness and bitter cold, with temperatures dropping far below anything we've ever experienced. The gravitational forces would also create some spectacular and terrifying effects. Depending on our orbital distance, we might experience significant tidal forces. These are the same forces that cause our ocean tides, but amplified dramatically. The side of Earth facing the black hole would experience stronger gravitational pull than the far side, potentially stretching our planet like taffy. If we were orbiting close enough, these tidal forces could become so extreme that they'd literally tear Earth apart, creating what astronomers call a tidal disruption event. But assuming we're at a safe distance, we'd still experience some wild effects. Ocean tides would be massive, potentially flooding coastal areas during certain parts of our orbit and leaving vast expanses of ocean floor exposed during others. The most mind-bending aspect of our new situation would be the effects of time dilation. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time moves slower in stronger gravitational fields. This means that clocks on Earth would tick slower relative to the rest of the universe. If someone were watching us from a distant galaxy, they'd see us moving in slow motion. A single day on Earth might correspond to weeks, months, or even years in the outside universe, depending on how close we are to the black hole. From our perspective on Earth, everything would seem normal. Your morning coffee would still take the same amount of time to brew, and your commute to work would feel just as long. But if we somehow had a way to communicate with the rest of the universe, we'd discover that civilizations we once knew had aged and evolved at an accelerated pace, while we remained trapped in our gravitational time bubble. The psychological effects on humanity would be profound. Imagine looking up at a night sky where the familiar constellations have been replaced by the hypnotic swirl of an accretion disk. The absence of our sun would fundamentally alter every aspect of life as we know it. Plants would die without photosynthesis, ecosystems would collapse, and the entire food chain would crumble within months. But let's say humanity had somehow prepared for this cosmic relocation. We'd need to become entirely dependent on geothermal energy, nuclear power, and any remaining fossil fuels. Underground cities would become our new reality, heated by the Earth's core while the surface became a frozen wasteland during the dark portions of our orbit. The strangest part might be the gravitational anomalies we'd experience. Depending on our orbital mechanics, there could be points where Earth's gravity combines with the black hole's pull in unexpected ways. Objects might fall sideways, water might flow uphill, and compasses would spin wildly as magnetic fields get distorted by the intense gravitational environment. Navigation would become a nightmare. Our GPS satellites, assuming they survived the transition, would give completely incorrect readings. The very concept of up and down might become relative to which side of the planet you're standing on and where we are in our orbit. If our orbit happened to be highly elliptical rather than circular, we'd experience extreme seasonal variations unlike anything Earth has ever seen. During our closest approach to the black hole, the tidal forces and radiation would intensify dramatically, while our farthest point would plunge us into an ice age that would make our planet's previous glacial periods look like mild winter days. The most fascinating aspect might be what we'd observe looking outward from our new cosmic home. Light from the rest of the universe would appear distorted due to gravitational lensing, creating multiple images of distant galaxies and stars. We'd essentially be living inside a cosmic funhouse mirror, where the very geometry of space itself bends and twists the light from distant worlds. So there you have it. If Earth somehow found itself orbiting a black hole, we'd be facing the ultimate cosmic nightmare scenario. We'd lose our familiar sun, our concept of time would become meaningless, and we'd be trapped in a gravitational dance between scorching radiation and frozen darkness. The tidal forces alone could stretch our planet like putty, while time dilation would leave us moving in slow motion relative to the rest of the universe. The reality is that human civilization would face extinction within months without the sun's energy. And even if we somehow survived underground using geothermal power and nuclear reactors, we'd be living in a world where up and down lose all meaning, and the night sky becomes an alien kaleidoscope of bent light and swirling cosmic debris. It's a scenario that makes our current problems seem pretty manageable by comparison. Thankfully, the chances of this actually happening are so small that you're more likely to win the lottery every day for the rest of your life. But it does make you appreciate just how perfectly positioned we are here in our little corner of the solar system, doesn't it? Our boring, predictable orbit around a stable star suddenly seems like the most precious thing in the universe.